Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. And today we've got another Gun Gripe episode for you. And we're going to be talking about why Greg Anderson is the GOAT. So that's today's video. The GOAT. Okay? Greg Anderson. Why it's important. Why do we want to talk about Greg Anderson? Officer Anderson. He has really made a huge splash on social media in the last week or so. And at the point that today's video is being made, just in the last 24 hours, he has been able to raise for his GoFundMe over about $215,000 of support from people all around the United States have resonated really strongly with his video that he put out. And the reason that this is important, and I think it's definitely worth talking about, is because Officer Anderson posted a video not too long ago. At this point, it's been maybe 3 or 4 days ago, maybe 5 days since he posted it. And in this video, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. On Instagram, he is GRAnderson33 over on Instagram. He has amassed over 35,000 additional followers just in the last 4 days. And his GoFundMe has reached some epic proportions. But if you go and watch that video, he shows solidarity with the people. All right, he is a police officer in Washington State, specifically Port of Seattle, Washington Police Department. So if you want to know more, definitely check out his video. The reason it's important and the reason I want to mention it is because he goes on to show very much solidarity with the people and with the citizenry. Okay. And he actually caught a lot of flack, and he ended up getting put on administrative leave, and many of us believe it's going to lead, of course, to him being fired from the Port of Seattle Police Department, which he works for. So if you want to contact the chief up there and let your voice be heard, I would certainly consider doing that, as well as contacting the governor up there in Washington State.
I think you have to get in line, though, to contact either one of those individuals currently.
This situation has brought heat onto the law enforcement agency, specifically at the politician / chief / let's just say leadership level, because here you have this officer who many people complained that he made this video in uniform in his vehicle and everything. I think there wasn't a more appropriate way for him to express his support for the people than doing it in uniform. That makes the message all that much more genuine, and it makes it much more from the heart. And, you know, Anderson is a Ranger veteran, Army Ranger veteran, and, you know, you can definitely see that where those military values cross over into the civilian field and where our principles as veterans follow us into everything that we do in life. And even if you're going to take on a role such as law enforcement, being a first responder, being a paramedic, a fireman, or running a company, whatever your choice in life may be, those values that are instilled in us in our training and in what we deal with overseas follow us for the rest of our lives. And we take an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that the Constitution is our boss, right? The people are our boss. And Anderson showed solidarity for the people, you know, by making this video, which got him in some bit of hot water. And actually, you know, Chad has been living a bit like a hermit here recently. He actually had not seen the video until recently. I just showed it to him. So what's your take?
Well, it brings to light a lot of things that are going on and that are being spread through social media, the wonderful world of social media, keeping everyone informed about current goings-on, and also violations of the Constitution of the United States. It's nice to have instant access to content showing that. I mean, like, literally, just since we started doing this video, I mean, the GoFundMe has gained like an additional $6,000. I mean, it's just
now at almost $222,000 for his GoFundMe.
But wow, all right, you always hear good cop, bad cop. Okay, you know, good guy, bad guy, good gun owner, bad gun owner. All right, so there are cops out there that really want to do the public good. Okay? They want to serve the people. There are other officers, there are people in power above those officers, leading all the way up to the governors of the states, leading all the way up to the president, okay, of the United States. All right? There are people in power. And like Officer Anderson made clear in the video, their power is not derived from some higher source. It is derived from the people whom they serve. And too many times politicians and folks in power, quote unquote, forget that, and they think, okay, well, you're just going to do what I say or else. So you have these certain emergency powers that governors can be privy to given a state of emergency being issued. I mean, just like in Georgia, we had certain lockdowns and things like that. There were, okay, safer at home orders and such, but the punishment for these punishment for violations of that were unenforceable. They could not punish you. They cannot legally, like, fine you, throw you in jail, okay? These are not laws that are on the books. This is just words that were written on a piece of paper during a so-called state of emergency, which, look, I'm not going to get into it, but I don't even think it should be a state of emergency. What has happened with this entire quote-unquote crisis is unfathomable, okay? I mean, you've got... You just to get on, not on another tangent, but you've got drones flying over cities, tracking people's movements. You've got cell phone apps tracking your proximity to other people who may have been in contact with COVID-19. You know, and the more and more data that comes out, the further along in this that we get, we see that death rate, the mortality rate trickle slowly down the line. Okay?
Well, they never let a good crisis go to waste.
So it is exactly that. This is just an opportunity for people who are in power, who wish to abuse that power, to continue abusing that power. And once they have a taste of this whole situation, they're not going to want to let it go. You mark my words that this is going to continue for a good long while, and the public outcry and the public unrest is going to increase more and more and more and more. And you're going to start seeing incidents happen where law enforcement is pitted against the people, and you're going to see people getting more and more pissed off throughout this whole situation. And this is exactly what Greg is talking about. There's cops all over the United States that are enforcing unconstitutional laws just so they can put their boot on some common citizen.
All right.
You know, I mean...
It goes into a couple of other deeper things as well. I think that the reason that they are wanting to put this boot down so hard is because you've got all of these people that are after a huge power grab. It's an election year. They want to make Trump look bad. They want to potentially make Trump lose the election. They want a swing of power. They don't care anything about your safety, about the safety and health of your family. Mm-hmm. This is all about perceived power and about trying to put people down.
Absolutely.
Whether or not you agree with Trump, whether or not you like Trump, the bottom line is this is all just trying to make Trump look bad going into the election so that they can try to politicize that situation to try to win the election and steal away votes from people. Mm-hmm. It's all a power grab. And then also the other difficulty with Anderson's statements, I agree 110% with what he said. You should go on there, watch his video, which has over 500,000 views on social media. It's done really well. But it's really important that people realize that the actions of Washington State, what the chief of police there did at the Port of Seattle Police Department, it actually verifies what we have all thought all along, is that it's not about the people. It's about consolidating power. It's about, basically, it's about furthering a global agenda, a world government, about, a police state. And the fact that they didn't stand behind their officers says a lot about their true feelings over the situation. I mean, the more professional way to handle that would have been, hey, I'm the chief of police here, blah, blah, blah. Look, we realize that one of our officers made this video, which has gone viral and has gotten very popular. And, that would have been a really great time to go, hey, now, generally we discourage our officers from making statements in uniform or whatever, but I just would like to take a moment to say that we all agree with Officer Anderson and that that we are showing solidarity and that we are supporting our officer, okay?
And we're
because it's
supporting
the
the
right
people.
thing to do, yes. And they had a total chance to hit a home run and support the people and win back a lot of favor towards the police that has been lost over the last 10 years. A lot of negative things with the police have occurred. You know that our view on the police has not exactly been super positive, but we try to be fair and call things like we see it. So just like we'll call the bad cops out when we see them doing stupid stuff, we feel that it's also fair to call out the good guys who show solidarity with the people and they do the right thing, okay? That's super important here in this particular case. Now, I'd like to take a very quick moment too. A couple of posts were made, and this is all sort of like still happening. And at the time that this video goes live, this might be a week old, but that's okay. I still wanted to acknowledge it because it's super important. But there's a lot of friends of ours within the 2A community and within the civil rights community that we feel are doing lots of great work. And I feel like it's really important to acknowledge a lot of the efforts that are being made by great people that are out there. And I've read some of the comments and I've seen some of the posts, so I just want to take a quick moment. Also, you know, there are many, many guys out there like Anderson that take their oath seriously and that support the people. And there are a lot of people within our community that have been legitimately fighting this whole time and are literally living those values that Anderson put out there, right? And I feel it's important to acknowledge people like Mike over at Mr. Guns and Gear. You know, he is unapologetically American when it comes to exposing the truth about our rights and how important it is for us to maintain our solidarity and our liberty. Mike is a great dude. I consider him a personal friend. Go follow his channel. Tim at Military Arms Channel has done so much for our community. He always puts out pertinent content. Now, he doesn't put out as much stuff as we do, but when he does put something out, he really goes in for the kill, and that's great. And I consider Tim like a brother. He is a great dude, and he is one of the most awesome guys in this community, and we are lucky to have him on our side, okay? I want to give a shout out to my buddy Maj Toure, which, you know, he has the Black Guns Matter movement. He's getting the inner cities involved. That guy's been putting in the work, okay? He's been putting in legitimate work for years and really trying to get the inner cities involved in the fight for our gun rights, okay? And he's been doing a wonderful job of that. And people need to remember there's guys like Maj out there putting in this work every single day to protect our citizens and to get our inner cities involved in defending themselves, guys. It's really important. So Maj, we love you, man. Great work. I want to give a shout out to Colel Noor. He does great work. I know that we have all had our disagreements over the years about certain things, which we're not going to get into here. But at the core values for what we try to do as a community, he has done a heck of a lot to bring awareness to many groups of people that I can't reach, right? May not listen to me, but they'll listen to him. And he also is really great with the younger generation and appealing to the young kids. And he's also really great at appealing to these liberals that sometimes can be hard to argue with, right? You know, they pose a lot of really odd arguments that he has really good, fair, concise answers for. I may not always be able to deliver the most concise answer, but I try my best. I mean, we do what we do, and you guys take that for what you will, but I want this to be about other people, right? And then also, I want to give a shout out to my buddy, KD, Kevin Dixie, NOC. He is unapologetic when it comes to his support for the inner cities. He does a lot with the kids and getting all the kids involved. He is a good dude. He is making sure that he lives past the uniform, which, you know, he's another example of a guy that wore the uniform and then now is taking those values into other aspects of liberty and moving forward for all people, right? You know, KD is doing great work. So I feel like it's really worth mentioning a lot of other strong players, you know, in this game. If you guys don't follow Officer Tatum, okay, Officer Tatum is another great, you know, guy that does really good work in terms of putting things out there in a factual manner that people can really just, you know, analyze in a really fair and concise way and draw conclusions based on the facts after the dust is settled and everything. And he's really good about being fair about everything like that. So, you know, we really wanted to give this shout out to Anderson in this video. Greg, thank you for making that video. It means a lot to me and many of our fellow Americans, of course, But I also wanted to make sure we acknowledge the people that are putting in the work. And look, there's tons of other people that are putting in great work that I didn't mention, okay? And I don't have time in this video to talk about everybody. So if I didn't mention you, please don't think that we don't realize how important your work is. Carrie Sloan, We the Female, and she also has stilettos and shotguns. Carrie is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. And her story is super important, and we need to make sure we're getting that out there to people. So you're going to see Carrie on a gun gripe with us, where we're going to let her really discuss her stories about domestic violence, and she is a domestic violence survivor, and she is doing a heck of a lot of work on the forefront of making sure that women have the ability to protect themselves against violent people that are trying to hurt them, and that women are empowered to be head of household, to run businesses, right? Lots of folks are in vicarious situations where they've got a really they're in precarious situations where they got to be able to protect their family and protect their flock, right? And she is literally a shining example of what we need to be striving for to make sure that men and women within our organizations and within our family units can defend themselves really well. So make sure that you check out Carrie. She's great. And I just really wanted this video to be about shouting out folks that are doing great work and kind of getting back to this Anderson thing. So, after what they did up there in Washington State, so what's the prognosis for maybe the next couple of days? What do you predict might happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to get his job back, because otherwise the public outcry, like locally and across the country, is just going to get even worse. I mean, and I don't think that they want that. They've got to show, or they've got to save a little bit of face if they know what's good for them. Because, man, you get killed on social media these days because word travels so fast. And this is not fake news. I mean, this is real news. Some of the stuff that you see out there, yes, it can spread around, but folks with half a brain realize what they're reading is probably not true, and they go and do a little bit of research themselves and find out about it. But this is not fake news. This is real. And you see it being spread around so much because it's the truth. I mean, what do they say? The truth shall set you free.
Well, I don't know if it matters or not, but anytime something serious like this is going on, and I have strong feelings about it, I always tag the president on social media. I always tag the White House. I tag Trump Jr., I tag the governors of these states. I tag the police departments because it's important that they see what we see and they know what we know and they understand where the grievances are in our society. I mean,
as much of a social butterfly as President Trump is, I'm sure that he's already seen it.
But the point is, though, is that social media has become an extremely powerful tool for people to express their concern. I mean, this word travels so fast, and things like, Greg Anderson's story get around so fast that it does become a rallying cry for a certain cause. And, we see a lot of that in things that have happened. So we wanted to make this video to show solidarity with Greg Anderson. He's probably going through a really rough time and feeling, well, right now at this point, he's probably not feeling very isolated because he's probably gotten thousands of emails and phone calls of support. And of course, he's raised, almost $250,000 in support, which we know that number is going to keep going up. I think that's great because that'll allow him to start a new life, relocate, do whatever he needs to do in life to make sure that he can succeed. And by the people showing solidarity with him in the way that they have, by donating that money, it fills me with a lot of happiness and it makes me proud to be an American, and sometimes it just takes a small gesture. It seems small, but it's actually huge in its impact. And those impacts and those gestures that we put out in social media have a humongous impact and have a humongous effect on each other. And that's why it's such a powerful tool and should be handled, carefully, because you got to be careful what you talk about, what you put out, because it can have a strong impact. And it just goes to show, how important all of this is in terms of what we've collectively helped to build and how powerful of a voice it can really be to reach people.
Well, also, the mainstream media would have you believe that these sentiments that Greg is discussing aren't prevalent in the American populace today. But these sentiments are alive and well. You know, constitutionality is alive and well. A sense of, I want to live free. You know, I want my liberty. I don't want to be screwed with. I don't want some boot dropped over me. Those sentiments are with American people more and more today than they've ever been.
I agree.
But, you know, like I said, the media would have you believe otherwise and try to keep you scared and inside and not really figuring out what's going on in the world. You know, keeping people isolated and separated. I mean,
and it's not a party politics thing. It's not a left or right thing.
Not.
There are many people on all sides of the political aisle that are finally realizing, you know what, this isn't a party problem. This isn't a politics problem. This isn't a people problem. This is a problem with government overreach. No matter what side of the fence it comes from, people are tired of the government nosing around in their business and trying to tell them how to live. And I think that there is a resurgence in American patriotism that is more of a universal patriotism of people just loving this country, and I want to see that moving forward. And I think we're seeing definitely a resurgence in it.
I think so. Some of the funniest things that I have seen recently in my limited time on social media were where officers were getting punked on the beach with scarecrows. Like, you know, because there were some stories about guys out there like paddleboarding. Yeah, paddleboarding. I feel so old sometimes. But like cops come and like arrest a guy on the beach for paddleboarding. I mean, he's the only one on the beach, and the beaches are closed.
And none of the policemen ever have masks on. And there's like 7 of them in a group, and they're all within elbows reach of each other trying to get some guy, and none of them have masks on.
You know, there's a lot of anti-police sentiment out there, and it's because of the actions of the police. If there were no bad cops out there, if there were no bad actors out there doing these things that people are crying out about, then there wouldn't be a problem. But the truth of the matter is, there are these bad cops out there. There are these overreaching power grabs and these overstepping of bounds and this trampling of liberty and just a constitutional way of life. Okay, there are laws, yes, on the books, but when you have some government figure saying, "Oh, well, this is the new law," and it didn't go through the proper channels, that doesn't sit well with people. You can't just have an authoritarian government, some sort of like faux dictatorship just temporarily because of some invisible enemy that really isn't as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have that. And you can't have the people sitting by idly by just sitting on their hands and just saying, "Okay, we'll be good little boys and girls." It doesn't work that way.
Well, there's another clear and concise point that we want to make before we end today's video, and that's, you know, you can't say that, oh, well, that bad shoot that police officer made, or that infringement that officer committed, or this no-knock warrant that went bad, or whatever situation you see, you can't say, oh, well, that was an isolated incident, and that doesn't represent the whole. If those things are happening every single day, there gets to be a point where you can't deny that it's happening anymore, okay? That it does happen every day, that these incidents are happening on a regular basis, and they're not being reported, right? Or the mainstream media wants to kind of, you know, suppress the fact that these things are happening a lot more often than they used to in previous years, and that these folks are being empowered to do this stuff. It's not a officer discretion, you get to do what you want, and look, you know, only if it seems like you absolutely have to, you should do it. No, they're empowered. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta go do this, we gotta go do that. And then we're not even gonna get into HR 6666, which is a new bill that they're wanting to put in that is going to give them a heck of a lot of discretional gray area to act within, and there's a lot of discretionary, random middle ground where things can be taken a lot of different ways, right? So that's a scary piece of legislation.
Printing fake money so, they can create these groups that go around and, test for coronavirus. And, if you've got it, then you're going to be isolated to your home. And we're going to make sure, we're going to pay people to watch you and make sure that you stay in your home.
Yeah, and then the TAPS Act, all that's gaining a lot of traction. And there's a ton of Republicans that came right out and supported the TAPS Act. And I think that the overall lifeblood of what that is intended to be is not what they think it is. And I think that they're being gypped into supporting it when they don't realize that I think that there's going to be a lot of negative consequences that are going to come from that. Red flag laws and confiscation orders and risk protection orders and pre-crime and thought crime and all of these scary things that people get called conspiracy theorists for. Guys, it's happening.
Conspiracy is only a conspiracy until it gets proven true.
Well, yeah, and conspiracy is only a conspiracy until the government starts doing it, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, it's not a conspiracy anymore. So, guys, keep your eyes open. Look at the road ahead. Don't be distracted. Don't let them distract you from the truth. Know that there are a lot of great people out there that really love this country and care very much about individual liberty and about making sure that you and your family can be protected with any means necessary that you see fit. Know the good players out there that are doing the right thing and using their platforms for the greater good and for trying to help society and trying to be good Americans, being good people. Like I said, there's tons of folks out there. If I didn't mention you, please don't think that I'm ignoring you or that you're not doing a good job, because lots of people are. There's too many to list, which is a good thing. There is a saturation of liberty, okay? Many people are doing great things within their communities to make a difference, and Greg Anderson just happens to be one of them, okay? So, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing for helping, keep our channel running and supporting us directly. Thank you so much, okay? Those of you who purchase t-shirts over on Ballistic Ink, thank you so much for your support. We have lots of great man cans for sale. Make sure you go pick one up. That's a great way that you can support the channel directly if you wish. Have a great day. Live in liberty, guys. Live free, and we will see you soon.
Peaceful non-compliance.